The world as I knew it crumbled in a matter of weeks. A virus of unknown origin tore through the world population. In a matter of weeks, it left chaos in its wake. Countless people died. The virus didn't discriminate based on your skin color, your ethnic background, or your social economic status. The wealthy 1% managed to secure themselves in a bunker for 5 years. They only came out when their supply of food and water ran out. The infected, on the other hand, were dubbed zombies, due in part to their mindless, ravenous state. London became a living nightmare. The city that was once the center of the world, renowned for its love for football and the many nightclubs. It buzzed with life every evening. People from all over the world, especially the princes of Dubai, never wasted a chance to drive their sports cars around. London was a city of dreams, unlike any others. My name is Frederick. My mother picked the name after Frederick Douglass, a well-known American social reformer. He was known for the 1845 publication of his first book, The Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass. Unlike him, I lived a pretty simple life. I'm a 30-year-old graphic designer and a part-time photographer. I had no grand ambitions for the future. However, I always wanted to explore uncharted territories, face the unknown with no outside help. Sadly, all those lofty dreams would soon come to an end. It started subtly when the news reported a strange illness. Soon, the truth was undeniable. The streets of New York, Ontario, Beijing, and Rio de Janeiro all went dark. Each government issued an immediate lockdown. Airlines were shut down, and borders between countries were patrolled by the police. It lasted for months until the very end. The first time I saw an infected person, it was outside my apartment. I spotted a woman who had hollowed eyes. Her skin was pale and mottled, but she moved with a jerky, unnatural gait. She let out a guttural growl, a sound that chilled my blood. 2 days later, I got out of my apartment and saw 3 people sitting by a dog. They were so busy devouring its flesh that they didn't even realize I was standing there. I looked in horror as this unfolded before me. I used my smartphone to record this incident, and I got about 4 seconds of footage before one of them looked at me. It immediately growled and stood up. Slowly but surely, it is making its way towards me. That's when I realized this was a zombie. I stumbled on my feet, unable to move a muscle. It almost felt like an eternity. In my desperation, I dropped my phone. I had no gun on me, nor did I carry any weapon to protect me during a fight. I have never been big on sports, so I ran. I wouldn't be able to escape my assailant. The zombie bit me on the leg, ripping at my flesh. I screamed in agony, but no one would help. The sound of my voice alerted the 2 remaining zombies, who would soon join the first one. My body became a banquet, and they liked it. As they ripped me to pieces, my heartbeat slowed until there was no beat left in him. My mind drifted away and into the unknown. I had just died, and I was still a virgin. That's got to stink. The next time I opened my eyes, I found myself near the British Museum. It was an impressive feat of architecture. High walls and large doors. There was no one around, just a couple of zombies, just like me. I was moving so slowly, despite my better efforts. I realized this was my new life. In the sad and unappreciative life of an undead, I could only find comfort in the fact that he would live long enough to see the end of the world. Even my heart was ripped from my chest. Instead, there was just a gaping hole. Half of my innards were ripped out of their sockets. One evening, I was drawn to the sound of an accident. It looked like a car was turned upside down. The passengers all looked so young, possibly teenagers. They lost consciousness during the accident. I walked up to them and I grabbed someone by the hand. There was blood everywhere. The smell alone was so intoxicating that I had to eat the flesh. I opened my mouth and plunged my teeth into one of the survivors. She woke up and began screaming. It was a blonde girl with sparkling blue eyes. She had red lips that burned with a passion for love. She tried to punch me, but I wouldn't feel a thing. The taste of her flesh in my mouth felt like a breeze. It was so succulent, I could barely stop. In my ravenous hunger, I devoured a large chunk of her hand. She was still alive and screaming for help. In the distance, I saw a large group of zombies surround the remaining survivors. A few of them had guns, but that didn't help at all. They fought till the bitter end, but there were just too many zombies. Suddenly, the screaming stops. My prey had lost consciousness. She lost so much blood. It was all over the floor. I could no longer feel her pulse. She was no more. I left her corpse there as I slowly dragged myself to the nearby street corner. It was only by the light of dawn that I witnessed the most impressive gathering of zombies. We were standing before the London City Hall. There was a zombie that looked a lot like Boris Johnson. Or perhaps it was Donald Trump. Both had a similar body shape and the same haircut, as far as I could remember. The zombie stood there, then raised his hand. It suddenly growls in pain and agony. Then it shook frantically in a clockwise direction. His movements were received with an open growl from the entire crowd. Then there was silence until Boris Johnson resumed the same frantic movement. We were there until the next morning. The chilling breeze of the night had us freeze in our tracks. I couldn't move, nor did I feel like it. The city of London was so silent, it almost felt mysterious. A few years ago, no one would believe this could happen. The lights were still on. In the night, they illuminated our path, adding life to the city of the dead. Some of the zombies fell to the floor, while others leaned on each other. Even Boris Johnson took a break. I looked to my left and spotted my reflection in the glass. There was a window from an already destroyed shop. It had papers and dirty bags all around. There were even a couple of broken chairs. My reflection in the mirror was a sad view of life. I had no lips. My skin was sunk and hollow. Having lost 99% of the water in my body, my skin turned black, and it lost most of its color. I had nothing left to live for. Nothing.